I've done countless exercises, courses, private lessons, and everyone has given me the same direction, which is to work on an exercise sheet and build my technical facility that way. Well, I'm telling you right now, it's a lie. This is the slowest way to get you where you want to go in music or on the guitar. This is like across all instruments. It blew my mind when I realized this for myself, and it's been helping all my students ever since. And so this is my goal in delivering some practical information to help you crush it really quick. So if you're new here, I'm a professional musician. I've done over 1,000 paid shows, and I've graduated from Berklee College of Music with a scholarship. This is a lesson from our free online music school, which is designed to create practical music education and make it available for everyone. If you want to come check it out, come and hang out with us. It's a vibe. Now, if you're wondering why we get fed this idea of like, let's do your technique exercises and that's how you build your practice regime. Well, I believe, in my opinion, it comes from 3 places. So firstly, it's a really easy way to kill time for a teacher in a lesson instead of actually teaching. So they'll use it as like, hey, make sure, have you practiced your exercises and blah, blah, blah. And if you've done this before, hey, you'll know. And secondly, it is a really easy way for you to feel like you did something. Like I know for me, when I was sitting down and I was like practicing and doing my exercises, I would feel like, oh, I did an hour of practice today. That's fantastic. So it makes us think we're being useful practicing, but it really isn't. Now, thirdly, this is the real one. This is the real danger zone. It's advice from people that have the best intention, but you're not getting the full story of how much time they actually spend practicing. And these people that I'm talking to you about are the people that we look up to. I'm talking like Steve Vai, I'm talking like Brent Mason, John Mayer, all of these like amazing, musicians that we're obsessed with. And they're the ones that like 100%, if you're playing music, someone has inspired you and you look down the blueprint of what have they done to build their technique and things like that. And if you're lucky, some of them give you information. For me, when I was in the early stages of building my technique, I stumbled across, Steve Vai's, 30-hour workout, and that which was 10 hours a day. And I attempted it many times to try and get good at it, but I'm not built that way. So the reason why it's really, really dangerous is because these people that are playing technique practice for them, they'll say, oh, I do an hour of technique practice, or I do an hour of scales, I do an hour of whatever. They're practicing and playing, I would just say they're playing like 8 to 10 hours a day. Some of these guys, I know it because I've done it. There's days that I'm playing for 12 hours. Like say I have to do like 3 back-to-back shows. I used to do, that's like nearly, well, actually sometimes I think the longest was 14 hours. One of my shows was 8 hours, and that was brutal. And so they're playing all the time. And so when they say, oh, I do an hour of practice, they're saying, well, maybe like 10% of my practice is exercises. And so when you guys, like, especially for myself, and I see for a lot of students, I see a lot of people like, oh, well, they're doing that, and I'm told I should do that. And they'll go and practice for an hour and do exercises. And then they're like, well, why am I not getting anywhere? And so that is exactly the problem, because you've missed out on the other 7 or 8 hours of musical application, which is exactly like where they spend their time practicing. So the strategy I follow now is basically what you're going to do is just play music. You're going to tackle a song that you'd love to play. And once you find a technique that challenges you, then you're going to isolate that part in the song. And then that's going to become your exercise. You're not going to go download sheets of exercises. You're not going to go around being like, oh, wow, how do I get in my hammer-ons and pull-offs and do all these different kinds of things? Say, for instance, you are at a technical deficiency in hammer-ons and pull-offs, and you're a massive fan of Jack Johnson, for instance, and you're like, oh, I love the song Taylor, and I want to be able to do, the intro that, or whatever. Instead of you going and doing, like, this is a straight, like, A/B comparison, I would jump in and I'd be like, okay, well, I need to do hammer-on practice. So I do my... And some of the exercise, like... You know, you would do like some hammer-on exercise for some weird-ass reason. But what you want to do for every single song that you do, just pick the song that you want to play and then extract whatever the challenge is and turn that into the exercise. So if I'm like, hey, I want to play Taylor and I don't know how to do my hammer-ons and pull-offs very well, even if you're at a beginner level, you want to just jump in and be like, okay, well, the tab says X or whatever however you try to find the music for yourself. And it's like, I turn that into the exercise. And then turn that into the exercise. Just super simple. And then you get better and better. As long as you understand the blueprint of what I'm saying, you get it. Like if you want to play blues music, go listen to blues music, listen to B.B. King, and you're going to get better at bends. And the other one that is like quite a big myth that I see, and it really, I laugh because I did this. I say this because I did this. I don't want you to have the same scars that I had. I want you to take all the lessons and do not have the scars. So I would be like, well, I want to play blues music. This is this is how stupid I am and how many other people, it's not actually like you being stupid. It's more like you just don't know any better. I didn't know any better. The people that I had that were really, really talented were not helping me in a really succinct way. They were like, go do your exercises and then play the music. Well, the music is the exercise. So originally I was like, I want to play blues music. So I would play some B.B. King. And then when I would go and play the B.B. King song, I would obviously, if you've ever tried to play any B.B. King, his bending is monstrous. Like he's doing like a bunch of like bends that are like challenging your index finger and your pinky and everything. Like it's really, really good. Like you want to get good at bends, play B.B. King bangers. They, their Thriller's gone. B.B. King, oof, you will. Oh, I get so good at bends. Now, I would do bending exercises. I would do my pull-off exercises, picking exercises, blah, blah, blah. But all I really had to do was just play the song. Sit there and really, really take the time to just play the lick that was challenging within context to the music, and my technique would build that way. Now, I stopped completely doing exercises and all that stuff once I was like year 2 at Berkeley. I was like, this is not serving me, which was about 8 or 9 years ago, 8 years ago. My guitar playing has improved so immensely since then. It's just actually bonkers. And all that changed was I stopped doing the exercises and all I did was just play the music. Now, your technique, and a lot of people are going to argue, well, where are you going to build the good habits and where are you going to, like, good habits when it comes to the guitar, honestly, they're subjective. You're going to have guitarists that are going to tell you, hey, keep your thumb behind the neck. And then you're going to have other people say, hey, keep your thumb over the neck. And you're going to have people say, hey, make sure you hold a pick this way. And then you got other people that are like absolutely crushing it like this. And then you've got people who say, hey, use a guitar pick. And then you got, hey, I've seen, oh my God, I can't even remember his name. It's like Mateus something. I don't know. Someone in the comments can like pull it up. But he absolutely crushes it. And he's just like, plays with his fingers. There's a Rick Beato video and he's just like, yeah, I don't like the pick. It's too bouncy. And I'm like, he just destroys. So like music is subjective. Technique, I mean, there are some things that, hey, best practice, you should try that because it will keep your hands as strong as possible. But I'm just seriously like, if you practice enough, your hand naturally moves towards it. If you're watching people enough, you're naturally going to start picking up those things, because the body is amazing. It ergonomically is going to work really, really well. And you can't compare your hand technique to, say, John Mayer. Like me moving my hand over the neck, like over the thumb, like the thumb over the neck, that is quite a push on my hand. Like, so I have to be kind of clever. I'm also very active with my pinky, because I just don't have like a really big hand span. Now, say you're Steve Vai or John Mayer, if you look at his hands compared to the fretboard, they're gigantic. So like his third finger, like distance, like this, like how far he can go is like, it's probably bigger than me, my index finger to my pinky. So the physiological barriers that come in also make technique subjective. Now, so those are when it comes to like good and bad habits. The bad habit is not practicing music, period. When I say music, I mean playing songs that are challenging your technique, playing songs that are inspiring you to play more. That stuff is the most important thing, and everyone seems to just like miss it. And it's what I missed. I was like, how are people getting so good so fast? And I was like, oh, you got to play the songs all the time and you got to learn the music correctly. So do that. And don't worry about the bad habits, because the bad habits, they get ironed out over time. And so like this kind of comes down to like the next whole part of this. Music is like, it's a marathon. A lot of people want it to be a sprint. They're like, I want to become a really good country player. So then they're like, do all these country exercises, learn all these country licks, and then all of a sudden they're not a great country player, but they know a lick. They can jump in and be like, they can do all that stuff. You know, maybe a little bit chicken picking or whatever they do. But they're not like great. And so the problem is everyone tries to chase speed, and then they try to shortcut everything. And so when you're sprinting towards a goal, especially in music, you're going to lose every single time. It's actually going to take you like double, triple, sometimes quadruple the amount of time to get where you want to go. When the actual hack to get there really fast is to go slow and only do the thing that matters, which is play the music. You want to get good at country music? Play lots of country songs. You just learn the country songs, you play the simple chords, and then you start to fill in a couple of like, you know, melodic ideas. You start to hear things that the fiddle player does. You start to hear what the, you know, the guitarist is doing. You hear what the vocalist is doing. You can start to hear when does the instrumentation change? Like when can I add a lick over a lyric? You build that bank of information very slowly, but over the course of a year or 2 years, 3 years, you're way further ahead than the people who are sitting there like trying to rush it by learning as many guitar licks, as learning as many like exercises and trying to like, well, they say I've got a chicken pick and that means I've got a hybrid pick and I've got to get that, you know, my finger's going with the pick. So I'm going to do like as many exercises as possible. It's like, that doesn't make you faster. It truly, physically, it may get you faster. Like I'm not going to deny it. If you sit there with a metronome, 200 BPM and you're crushing it, like, you are physically faster, but you're not good at doing it correctly. You're just good at doing it fast. It's kind of like, you know, saying I want to be a really good basketball player in the NBA. This is the only thing I can think of. I don't know. I was thinking of Kobe Bryant. But say you wanted to be a really great basketball player. Now, if you just go into the gym, your body is going to be physically strong. Like, so if you go to the gym, lift weights, boom, your body is going to be physically strong. And then you got to go and play basketball. Now, to get good at basketball, you've got to play a lot of basketball. And the gym supplements the basketball. So if you spend all your time in the gym working out and you don't practice the actual skill of learning how to play basketball, you're going to be a really bad basketball player, but you'll be super fit. Now, the same thing happens in music. I don't understand why people can't draw this parallel. I don't even know why I couldn't have figured this out sooner. I'm like 33 now. I forgot my age. 33. I've been playing for, 20 years. And it took me so long to get there. And I'm like, oh my God. So just remember, it's like we're the culmination of these little techniques that you pick up in all the music that you play. So just take your absolute time and do not rush technique. Let technique be this thing that just progressively stacks. And then you'll look back over a year and you're going to have a crap load of songs that are really like you connect with, you're getting better at music, and then bam, you're just going to be building this great technique. You're not going to be picking up technique faster in the short term compared to someone who's sitting there doing like exercises, but you're going to sound way more listenable and you're going to love what you do way more than the other people. And then the other thing is, the average person who's always doing exercises is actually not really having that much fun. They're just doing exercises and they're not really playing music. That's not the reason why they picked up their instrument. And so that's where it's like, you're missing your shot. And so that's where you'll beat them. Like that's to say if you're comparing them, but I like to compare myself to myself. So like, what's the version of Luan that just does exercises? Well, that Luan will do the exercises for maybe like a couple of days and then he'll get bored and then he'll quit. But the version of Luan who like is tackling songs that are challenging, like most recently, there's a song that really lifted up my finger picking, my hammer-ons and pull-offs, and then also me engaging like my vocal with the actual guitar part. And so instead of doing like it's so that was really, really cool. I don't need no doctor. So that was like a really, really tricky thing for me to sing and play and get more comfortable with. So I just did it really, really slow. And then just the act of me going... And so I did it really, really slow. And on top of me just doing it so many times, because as I was like getting better, I was like, oh my God, this is so reinforcing. I'm having the best time. I was naturally just picking up so much stuff on my finger picking. And then when I came to like any kind of groove, I don't know. For me, I was feeling like, ooh, I'm locking in on this way, way more. So that's all I want to say about that. It's like, you're just going to become this culmination of techniques and that you build over time. And like, if you're a beginner, you want to tackle that literally one challenge at a time. Like if you're a beginner, absolutely everything is going to be a challenge. So don't feel bad if it's hard. And don't feel bad if you're getting like, hey, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Literally every single thing that you do as a beginner is directionally correct. So just move forward and just keep breaking the barrier. But the only advice I could give you for any beginner is if you're practicing technique and you're trying something, do it towards something that you like. And that's why I was saying, like, if you're a beginner and you're like, I want to play, blues music, well, literally be playing blues music. Don't go and learn classical. Don't go and learn like some other thing that some guitar teacher tells you to do. Don't just sit there and play the C major scale. Go and pick a blues song that's super simple and start moving forward towards that direction, and you will get your exact result. Like, and this is the same thing for advanced players. Like, if you want to jump in to like playing challenging songs and styles, do those straight away. Don't go and build your whole guitar technique and be like, all right, I finally got here. I've spent 3 months doing all my exercises. I can finally try playing God. I tell you what, if you want to play playing God, which is something that I personally want to do at some point, it's like my cookie at the end of the tunnel of when I like, if I make it as a content creator. Once I make it as a content creator, as in like I quit my day job of being a performer, then I will be like, yes, and I'm going to buy that guitar and I'm going to learn playing God. And do you know how I'm going to practice playing God? I'm going to practice playing God. I'm not going to do exercises. I'm literally going to go through playing God. And every single time, which is going to happen very frequently, I'm assuming every like bar, every time there is something that I have a deficiency in technique, it turns into an exercise. And then I just knuckle that phrase down and I just start working through it, work through it. And then eventually, I don't know how long it will take. It could take me months, could take me a year, could take me 2 years, but I don't know how long it would take. But if I sat there and practiced that every single day and did it that way, I would get really, really good at playing God. And then after that, every single part of my technique that got built while like learning that one song is going to translate into every other song I play in the future. So that's what people don't understand. They're trying to build the techniques, but no music, whereas you could play music and build all your techniques, and then they all carry over. And also, all the musical concepts of being in time, playing with a groove, doing all these different things, learning how to connect to the song, all those elements, you don't get any of that during technique practice. You get all of that by playing songs. So that's why it's insanely big of a hack that if you're going to practice technique, stop doing exercises, play songs, and make sure they challenge you, because you always want to keep getting them better. You always want to improve. You always want to see like, what's the next thing I can do? What can I feel better on my hands? So jump in, give that a try. If this insight gives you more help, I really hope it inspires you guys to get better and better at music. That's all we're here to do. This is stuff I wish someone had told me sooner. It is the amount of hours I have wasted, just purely thrown away. Because on the other end as well, this is do you want to know what the really sad thing is? Is I spent hours practicing building up my hands to do something that I didn't even want to do. I actually was doing exercises to get faster, and then the whole like mindset of getting better and beating the metronome kind of took over for me, and I built like this amazing technique. I was playing it like, you know, like well over 200 BPM, like shredding. And I wanted to play John Mayer songs. John Mayer doesn't play anything past 200 BPM. I'm pretty sure. There might be like little bursts of it, but like he's not smashing through like major scales and like chord scales and doing all that stuff at 200 BPM. I was like, why do I need to do this? Like, and then all that effort I put in just was wasted, because it's like, if you're not doing it, like if you're not doing those technique practices, well, it just atrophies. So now you just spent all this time building this technique, and then you stop doing it because you start playing music and you don't actually require that technique. Now all of that technique that you built up back there, that just atrophies. It just actually stops. Like, I can't play at 200 BPM anymore. I'd have to practice something that requires me to play at 200 BPM consistently, and I don't play any music like that currently. So that is the sad thing. So don't do that. Learn from me, and I really hope this helps you improve in your technique. So this applies to every instrument. This applies to every person who's trying to get better at music. I hope you enjoy my TED Talk, and I will catch you guys in the next video.